Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and what we're going to be doing with this video is doing a quick review of the Reckoning DLC. The Reckoning DLC is the fourth and final DLC pack to be released for Advanced Warfare. It was released on August 4th of 2015 on Xbox Live, and if history is any indicator, it's going to be coming out in roughly a month's time to PlayStation as well as the PC. What we're going to be doing with this video is actually covering the 4 brand new maps, showing you guys gameplay of the maps, and of course giving my impressions and my thoughts and feelings towards these new multiplayer maps, as well as of course we'll be discussing the new Exo Zombies map Descent, because it's going to be the 4th and final Exo Zombies map to be released for Advanced Warfare. I want to preface this entire review by saying if you want like the Too Long Didn't Read, it's a good DLC. By no means is it amazing, but it's a good DLC. It's kind of in the middle of the road. It's not like the greatest thing in the world, but by no means is it a bad DLC, because that's kind of like the Too Long Didn't Read, I suppose, of this particular video. But I would like to actually go ahead and explain myself a little bit more throughout this video, so hopefully you guys will go ahead and stick around for that. The first map we're going to be covering is going to be Swarm. So Swarm is actually set in Seoul, South Korea, and if you play the campaign, which don't worry, there's going to be no spoilers here or anything like that, but in the first mission of the campaign, it's set in Seoul, South Korea. North Korea is invading South Korea, and that's like the first thing that you learn like literally like 30 seconds into the game, right? And so what this is themed around is the idea that they're trying to rebuild South Korea a little bit, and for some reason we're fighting in it. I don't know why, but we are. So here we are fighting on this map. I did find that the map itself is very fast paced. Now how it's kind of broken down is there's like this central building complex where there's a bunch of buildings all put together in the center area of the map, where there's a lot of rooftops, a lot of platforms, a lot of alleyways to kind of cut in and out of, whereas that's surrounded by streets, and these streets have kind of like long lines of sight. You can have very long lines of sight on this map, or you can have very close lines of sight on this map, depending on how you would like to play it. But overall, I found that the map itself was very fast paced. I found that using a shotgun was actually very fun and beneficial on this map, and I was also using a sniper because I just like using a sniper a lot now in Advanced Warfare, so I was using that as well. I was having success with both of them. It's a very fun map. My own personal opinion, it's a very fun, fast-paced map, but one of the problems with Call of Duty DLC is for the first month while it's out, you can't really play the game modes that you would want to play on the map. You know, for example, I'm yet to play Domination here on Swarm. I wish I could, but I'm yet to actually get that, because when a new DLC comes out, there's a playlist that you can actually play a DLC, and in that playlist, you have the option to play Mosh Pit, or you have the option to play Team Deathmatch, and unfortunately, when I was playing Mosh Pit, Domination on Swarm never actually came up. I was able to play game modes like Uplink and Capture the Flag, but I was never able to actually play Domination, which really kind of saddened me. So I was able to play a lot of Team Deathmatch on this map though, and I did enjoy my time on it, and overall I think it's one of the better maps of the DLC. Next up, we are going to be looking at Fracture, kind of the yin to Swarm's yang in my own personal opinion. Whereas Swarm is a very condensed, fast-paced map, by the way the center of it is actually laid out, Fracture is the opposite. It is a very slow-paced map, which in my own personal opinion is awesome. It's actually one of my favorite maps of this DLC, by the very nature that it's a lot slower, right? It's definitely a very linear map in that it's basically your team's on one side, the opposing team's on the other side, and it's all about the different lines of sight that you're taking. I was using the MK14 for the majority of my time on Fracture, but I would also use a sniper rifle, I would use other assault rifles and stuff like that. It is a map that it's definitely reminiscent of some of the older Call of Duty maps, and it definitely reminds me a lot of the older Call of Duty map design, whereas it's kind of like it's 3 lanes, although the left lane, or right lane, depending on which way you're looking at, it can actually break off. Like there's a dynamic element to this map, in that the ice is going to break off and part of the map's actually going to go underwater, then another part of it's going to float off out towards the ocean a little bit. While that is part of the map, it does still have like this 3-lane feel to it, where you're always constantly kind of aiming down sight, waiting for your opponent to kind of enter your crosshairs a little bit. And I definitely liked it. For my own personal taste, my own personal bias, I like that style of map. I like that kind of gunplay. It's definitely reminiscent of like Modern Warfare 2, the original Black Ops, games like that, and this map definitely reminds me a lot of that. As well as I kind of like the theme of it. We're set in Antarctica. There's like this giant squid fossil over there for some reason. And overall, I just really think the map is pretty fun. So Fracture, surprisingly, is one of my favorite maps of this DLC. The next map we're going to be looking at is going to be called Quarantine. So before these maps actually came out, I tried ranking them 1 through 4 as the maps I think I'm going to like the most and the maps I'm going to like the least. Quarantine was at the top of that list. I thought I would like this map the most because of its setting. We're actually set on Liberty Island, right next to New York City. You got the Statue of Liberty in the background, which is just awesome looking. I love the theme. I love the time of the year because it's like this late fall, early winter kind of a feel to it. I love the setting of the map. But overall, I'm not a giant fan of how this map plays. Now, if you're wondering how the map plays, allow me to explain to you a little bit. picture Swarm. Right, Swarm is the same kind of idea where it's like this condensed middle area with like this outer area that people like to run around. Quarantine's the same way, except the middle area is so congested and it's so tight that just people are constantly camping that way. There's 4 different ways. Picture kind of like a square in the middle where there's basically like a tree with like a swing on it. Like that's like the main focal point of the map for whatever reason. People are constantly going there, and if you ever try to go to the middle to find somebody, you're basically playing like Russian roulette in a way, as to try and guess where the opposing team is at. Because if you pop your head out anywhere in the middle, they could be one of 4 different areas ready to shoot you in the face, and you're constantly guessing as to where that's going to be. The exterior of the map is actually pretty cool. I like the exterior of the map. I like the gunplay and the setup that is actually towards the exterior of the map, but just the middle of the map is really annoying to try and get kills in because people are constantly coming from different directions there. So if you try to avoid that, you can. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I'll just try to avoid that, but it's kind of hard to, because the opposing team really always seem to try and flock towards the middle, at least in my experience so far. And because of that, it was a bit of difficult. I had a bit of difficulty actually trying to get kills on the outer edges of the map, but I did have a lot of fun the times I was able to get kills on the outer edges of the map, because I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it played pretty well in objective game modes, and I really liked it for team deathmatch. Overall, Quarantine's an okay map, but it's probably my least favorite map so far of this DLC. And the final map we're going to be covering is going to be called Overload. So I didn't think I would like Overload very much, but I very much do like the map Overload. We're actually set in New Baghdad here. It's a beautiful looking map. I love the scenery of it. I love the layout of the map. It's definitely a lot bigger of a map. It's got kind of like this 3-lane feel to it, which again is something I really like. It's something that a lot of older Call of Duty maps used to feature, but not so much the recent ones. But the little foreshadowing here, there is going to be a lot of 3-lane style maps in Black Ops 3, so I'm definitely happy about that. But Overload's kind of a 3-lane style map with a very unique mechanic. That unique mechanic is that partway through the match, these little poles, I don't know what you would call them, end up coming up, and they're full of electrical power, and if you shoot them, they're going to let off like this electric pulse, which is going to kill anyone that is around them, right? And you can actually play around that pretty well. A lot of people weren't shooting those. I rarely actually died to them. I did, of course, die occasionally to them, but for the most part, I was the one exploiting those and killing a lot of people with them. If I would turn a corner and I would see one of those things down the way, I would shoot at it at the off chance that there was somebody near it, and a lot of the time, there was randomly somebody near it, and they would die as a result of that. But those things aside, I actually really like the way the map plays. I think it's a beautiful looking map. I like how it has a lot of boots on the ground. Like, there's not really a ton of jumping or a ton of spots for you to get to in this map. A lot of it is just boots on the ground, gun skill, and map awareness, and that's why Overload is one of the better maps of this DLC in my own personal opinion. So if I had to kind of rank these maps 1 through 4 as to which maps I like the most, which maps I like the least, I would say Fracture is probably my number 1 map, Overload being number 2, Swarm being number 3, and Quarantine being number 4. And to cover on Exo Zombies. Now keep in mind, this review is not going to be very in-depth about the story of Exo Zombies because I haven't really been following it. It's just really going to be from a gameplay perspective. I think Descent's a pretty good map. How it's actually set is it's set in an underground Atlas facility. You actually start above ground, like out there in the middle of the ocean, and then you can go underground into this entire like underwater city, which is actually really kind of cool. I didn't get the chance to actually play around with the new Wonder Weapon or anything like that, but I was able to play around with a lot of the guns and experience most of the map, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a good Exo Zombies map. If you like Exo Zombies, I think you're going to enjoy this map. It has a lot of cool settings to it. It has a very interesting mechanic, and I don't really want to talk too much about it, I suppose, because it might spoil a little bit of it, but I guess I kind of have to show it as well as part of the review. You do get to see Oz, and you have to go through like a gauntlet arena for Oz, which is pretty interesting, where it's kind of like there's a lot of different mechanics that you have to work with. Like, they'll make it so you can't use your exo jump because you'll hit your head and it'll hurt you if you go too high and you jump up and pass this little barrier that they set up there. Or they'll make it so, for example, there's the floor is completely made of electricity and you'll die if you stand on the floor. Or they'll make it so turrets pop out of the walls and you have to shoot the turrets and pull them up. It's kind of like this gauntlet. It's a really cool mechanic and idea, something that we haven't really seen in Exo Zombies before, or even just zombies in general. So I thought it was pretty neat. But keep in mind, I'm not the biggest Exo Zombies guy. I just don't like it as much as regular zombies, but still I can see why people like it, and I think Exo Zombies Descent is a great addition to Exo Zombies, and it probably is going to conclude the story pretty well. I don't know much about the Exo Zombies story, to be perfectly honest, but if you want to see some gameplay, here's some gameplay of it, and I will say that I did enjoy my time while playing Exo Zombies Descent, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be my relatively quick for me anyway, Reckoning DLC review. Usually I take these reviews, I go on forever with them, but I wanted to kind of make it a little bit shorter for you guys today, just kind of give you guys some bullet points and my general thoughts and feelings towards the map so far. And of course, I would like to hear your guys' opinion on these maps if you guys have actually played them, or maybe if you haven't played them. Maybe if you're somebody that's playing on the PlayStation or maybe the PC and you've only seen videos of the map so far, let me know. What do you guys think about these maps? If you had to rate them 1 through 4, what would you rate them? And of course, what is your opinion on Exozombies Ascent? And do you think this is a good way to end off the Advanced Warfare DLC season? Is this a good way to do it? Because this is, again, the final DLC pack for Advanced Warfare. Not to say we're not going to get any future DLC, because chances are we're going to get more camos. Chances are we're going to get probably some new weapons and some supply drops and stuff. But for the most part, this is the last big DLC pack, in that this is going to be the last Exozombies map we're going to get. These are going to be the 4 final maps added to the game, and there's going to be no more maps or anything like that actually added. Just the occasional DLC weapon and maybe the occasional DLC camo. We're going to have to see what they're going to be doing with that, but I'm going to assume we're going to be seeing more of that in the future. They're already hinting at adding the Cell 3 Cauterizer from Exozombies into the multiplayer, as well as maybe bringing back the AK-47 like they did with the STG-44. We'll have to see if they're actually going to go ahead and do that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, once again, that is going to be the end of my Reckoning DLC review. I hope you guys all enjoyed it and hope you guys all found it helpful and informative. Once again, let me know in the comments what is your opinion of the Reckoning DLC so far. If you liked the video, remember to leave it a like. If you disliked the video, remember to leave it a dislike. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a rating. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.